I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on the Global Book Network, we're diving into the disturbing mind of a confessed murderer. The name of the book, Albert Peabody, Confessions of a Serial Killer. It's written by a terrific author, a wonderful guest. His name is JerryPSchellhammer. This dark psychological thriller explores the twisted memories of Albert. He's a patient at Eastern State Hospital as he recounts a lifetime of murders to his enigmatic psychiatrist. But as the secrets unravel, the lines between sanity, delusion, and guilt all begin to blur. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put him on TV today. And we ask viewers like you to support authors like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his amazing book. The links are below this interview. Jerry, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thank you. And
Good to have you on.
coming here.
What inspired you to write a
Yes.
novel from the perspective of a serial killer?
Amazingly enough, it started out as just a minor character of a short story I was working on a larger novel doing or have been doing. Anyway, the premise was that Albert Peabody would be janitor, then who is janitor who is witness to a murder at a place he worked at in Spokane. So he has his own dark secret that nobody knows about. And the FBI agents that interview him, who are in the short story, and the main characters of the book, are just totally oblivious to this guy. He's just a janitor, so they go ignore him. And so then when I got done the story and the book itself, I went ahead and thought about it, and I thought, you know what, Albert Peabody or the Peabody or Albert Peabody could very well be just a standalone character in their book. And I started coming up with this idea of making him into a serial killer, and nobody knew about.
It's a fascinating character, so we're glad
until
you did
until he
develop it
made his
into a
confession
book.
later on.
Absolutely, absolutely. The
Yeah.
role of the
And so
psychiatrist.
and yeah, the role of the psychiatrist, Mr. Schwartz or Dr. Schwartz, he and again, the same thing. I just thought of, how do I put him into the plot of the story? And I thought, okay, well, have him have his own little dark secret that nobody knows about until the end of the book, that's where the climax of the story will end up at.
Yeah,
So yeah,
it's a great twist,
I
without a
like
doubt.
the
Talk to us about the
yeah.
nature of evil. Does your book suggest that it's born or it's made? Talk to us about what your book says about evil.
I've always been part of the nature nurture psychology of man. A lot of times you have natural born killers. And that's just the way it is. And there's times you have people who are trained to kill. And in this case, Albert was trained to kill, but he learned that he had to fend for himself early on in his life. Nobody was there to help him or fend for him or anything like that. And when he joined the army, he was trained to kill, and that's why he did. And the first part of the book delves into that very perspective where it wasn't his fault. He claims that it wasn't his fault that he killed these people. It was the people themselves' fault. It was the other ones that trained him to be the way he was or turned out to be. So that's how I worked that into it. And then of course, our eventually, and because it's told in the first person narrative, he's an unreliable narrator, and I make that point clear from the very beginning. Because he's blaming everybody but himself for all that happened to him, and so and that's how I portray him in that respect.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fascinating characters, fascinating circumstances. The book also explores themes of sanity versus insanity. Tell us about
Right.
that aspect of the story.
Okay. Well, and then again, I look at from the perspective of how do we define sanity or insanity when you have like in the jurisprudence court and the law is defined a certain way as where you're not completely within your faculties. You claim insanity, and basically get away with murder just by saying, "Oh well, I didn't know what I was doing at that time." At the moment that the murder occurred, but so I have to be insane. Well, no, I mean that and mental illness. Mental illness is a complete from insanity, and you cannot. Even though you might be a clinically insane, and in the course of in the medical profession, it may not fly in court. It may say you're fine. You need to try for murder, and yeah, you be considered that to be schizophrenic or bipolar or whatever. So and that's where I threw that into there because
It's
it's
fascinating stuff. Talk to us a little bit the role of childhood trauma in family history and the role that plays in Albert's transformation.
well, because in this story, Albert doesn't have a mother, and his mother passed away during childbirth. So he's left with his dad, and as it turns out, it's not his biological dad. His biological dad turns out to be the person that raped him. So he's in his own quandary. He has what do you think about his dad, and have the same physical characteristics his dad had.
Okay, Jerry, do you envision this perhaps as a TV series or a film? It seems like it's got the characters, the suspense, and the thrilling aspects to sustain one of those genres.
Yeah, I think so. I don't see why not. I probably be a more like a streaming service, I would imagine, like
Mhm.
Netflix or whatever. But yeah, I think it'd be a good um medium for the project.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's got a lot of content there. I think people are fascinated by serial killers, and
Mm-hmm.
I think this does a great job exploring the phenomenon. Are you thinking about a sequel to this book?
Well, of course, obviously, the end kind of puts that out
Mhm.
perspective, but I could probably think of doing something like that. Yeah, this
Yeah.
is. I don't want to give away the ending or anything, but yeah, it might be a little hard to do, but we'll see what happens.
Okay, we shall see what happens. How have readers responded to the twist
Yeah.
ending, that surprise ending?
My friends are really into they all read my books and they love the ending of it. They love how it ends and everything, how Albert kind of becomes the hero of the story in the end, which is kind of fascinating in its own way, because you would think um, a person like that would want to have anything to do with anybody like that, and yet he ends up being the person that saves the day in a way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's a wonderful ending. We won't give too much away. The name of the book is I,
yeah,
Albert Peabody, Confessions of a Serial
yeah.
Killer. It is a mind-bending journey through confession, corruption, and the darkest corners of the human psyche. Jerry, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you.
Good to have you on the show. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford for the Global Book Network. So long for now.